If it works, it may not work. We may not have a countdown. In fact, we might just be going straight live. Yes, hello. My name is Maddie and I am from Copywriters International, and I'm known as the Queen of Content Creation. And I am here with the most amazing, outstanding, incredible man, Michael Ray. How are you doing, Michael?
Hola, how are you? Good Monday evening, Tuesday AM in your beautiful part of the world. I am absolutely blessed and excited to be here.
And absolutely thrilled to have you here. Michael, it's Memorial Day over there. It's a holiday, yet you've still taken time out of your holiday weekend to jump on this live. So, very grateful that you've taken the time to do this. Tell us who you are.
Who am I? Well, I mean, it kind of says a little bit right there. I'm the smile guy. It's like when I went out publicly the other day, somebody walked up to me and said, "Wait a second, aren't you that happy dude?" I was like, I guess in some form or fashion, but I understand the power behind the simplicity of a smile. And it was really through the hardships and challenges of my life to where I understood the power of nonverbal communication. And it really started when two things intersected. And that was the beauty behind the smile of a daughter who's nonverbal. She can't talk. She says about 4 or 5 singular words, but she's never said those 3 simple words, "I love you." So for me, it was that nonverbal way to communicate through the power and simplicity of a smile that made me feel so alive and felt the love, even though she couldn't say those words. And as I tell people, we never know what we're going through in life as our lives intersect with strangers. And I just happened to be going through a drive-through, late one morning, and it was an interaction with a complete stranger when I was having a bad morning that made me feel so good. And as a lot of times in life, these light bulbs go off and we don't act on them. And I was like, wait. I have my daughter who can't speak to me. I have a stranger who made me feel good. How would that be then if I started going around with strangers trying to get them to feel loved through a smile?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it makes such a difference, doesn't it? Just like, that video you posted the other day about the 2 gentlemen and the baby, and they were both looking at each other through the camera, and the 2 gentlemen just lit up and the baby just lit up as well. It was just, that's how simple it can actually be. It doesn't have to be a big, grandiose action.
No. It's again, the ability to non-verbally speak to someone without opening your mouth. And it is that simple as we walk by people, no matter where we are. And I find myself now, because it's so habitual, at red lights, at coffee houses, it's just my nature and my personality, to where, again, you don't even have to say anything. So you can be a wild introvert. That's not me. I'm high level extrovert, but yet that simplicity of saying I love you just by smiling, it is contagious and infectious. Yeah, I could go to India, couldn't speak the language, but they would understand.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes, I've noticed when I'm walking along the street, and sometimes I like to play the little game of smiling at strangers and just see the reaction I get. And the reaction is incredible. Like, a lot of people are taken aback to start with, or they're surprised in some way, but then you get the odd person that lights up. And that's what makes it all worthwhile, isn't it?
It is. And in most cases, again, you don't have to say anything, but yet usually when they feel it and they react to it is when my wild, where I embrace being an extrovert and insanely outgoing takes over. And then I start losing my mind and speaking and getting them excited, because there are different levels and people feel it. They pick up on that, what we call energy, so when you're in the presence of somebody like myself, I think it is that contagious and infectious. So no, for me, it is all about smiling, but I usually get a little crazy and I don't have any comfort zones, and I'm willing to go the extra mile to get
You
people
and me both,
to
babe.
feel good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you and me both, babe. I mean, like, I've often been seen walking along the beach with a camera just to see how many high fives I can get in 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
and you're right, that just the simple gesture of a smile and saying hello. You know, a lot of times when I'm walking out of the self-checkout of a grocery store, I look and see a name tag, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Susan? And it's a high five, but the reaction that you get in the simplicity of that gesture, from someone, because again, you don't know where they are in life and what they're going through. So it may make the difference in someone's morning, someone's day, someone's week, month, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you want to do. I mean, like, could you just imagine for a second if we all did what you do?
I think, for what I see and feel is the ability to smile through challenges and hardship, and finding, inner peace and understanding that life, regardless of the circumstances of where we are, because a lot of times I say it's mindset, is that life is still amazing. It's still so good, So yes, if we have the ability to do that with one another, I think we would find so much more happiness in life.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with you. You and I, babe, we are on the same page. Absolutely 100%. I mean, I love just, even going into like, shops and like just seeing a lady that looks beautiful and telling her, just sharing with her, that's verbal, I know, but even the act of just being able to say, hey, you look amazing today. The difference you can make in other people's lives and the way it makes you feel too is
so
just
true.
Incredible. Yeah. Now, I did read a little bit that you've been partaking in some random acts of kindness. Can you give me some ideas of some of the things you've been doing for that? Hello, you got
and I've done this for the last 3 years. Are we here? Hello?
Yes, we've got you now. I think we're good. Yes.
Okay. We glitched for a hot second, but what I did evolved. And when I first started this about 3 years ago, I was just taking random pictures with people smiling. And literally I did that for about a year and a half, and I had an epiphany. I truly woke up one day and I was like, I'm trying to make people smile through pictures. How would that look if I did a random act of kindness to make someone smile? And we started doing that. And as we did that, we felt such immense joy and happiness from the ability to give selflessly, unconditionally. And we started early on in that process, we put ourselves out there and not knowing, and we just randomly went to places in town and tried to find people in need. And it always seemed like we got it right. But as we shared this on social media, and what I like to think is social media can be insanely positive. It's perception, it's how we look at it. But it was so well received that people started reaching out to me and go, how do you find these people? What if I told you about somebody who needed the smile? And I was like, what? Tell me the story. And then people started telling me the stories of people going through things in life, whether people were battling cancer, job loss, grieving the loss of a loved one, financial struggles, on and on. And as we heard the stories of people, most of what we do now come through the people in the community telling us about the story of another. And that even evolved, once we started to get on the other side of COVID early this year, I chose to travel to Florida and California with relationships with people that I had on LinkedIn. And we went into their communities and we did random acts of kindness with them, blessing people and doing things for others. And it's amazing too, still, I love hearing the stories of others, but sometimes it is so powerful when you don't know the who. Like, I happen to be in Southern California, and I walked up and down one of the public beaches, and I saw so many homeless people, and I walked up and down for about 30 minutes until I encountered this one guy, and it was just different. And I often say it's just feeling it. And I observed this guy. He looked to be in his mid to late 60s, and he was laying in the sand. But what made him a little bit more unique was he was reading. And as I went up to him, then the interaction, and I find it fascinating a lot of times because in the moment, and it's like I'm having these 2 to 3 minute little reality shows with complete strangers. And the one question that I've found is so powerful to ask a stranger is, what makes them amazing? And they have to, you got a homeless guy laying in the sand, and he's pondering what makes him, amazing. And he feels so alive to sit there and say, I feel like I'm intelligent and I'm articulate, in focusing on what is good, in our lives. But again, for me, it is that infinite joy and happiness of giving selflessly to where you don't expect anything in return, truly, a lot of times, other than a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a hug,
Absolutely.
Just the simplicity of a hug to make another human being who's a stranger, feel good. And I often say that it truly just comes down to that. It's about how we make someone feel in that short moment. Maya Angelou had this amazing saying, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel.
Yes.
That's what stays with people is how we make them feel.
Absolutely. I'm very blessed to be involved with a project called Basket Brigade. You might have heard of it. It's a Tony Robbins initiative, and it's worldwide.
Actually, Tony, I have heard of it. Yes.
And we attend the Brisbane one every year without fail. It's like, we're down there, moment that the tickets come out, we're in, we go down. We load up our trailer. We get given a trailer by a local hire firm. They give us a trailer every year to do this because it's their contribution as well. And we head on down and we load up with boxes. And I'm talking about my husband and my 2 children as well. And we take these boxes to the less fortunate, and I mean, like, just that day is actually, it's our Christmas day. It's the day that makes us feel so amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's like the kids just every year, are we doing it this year? Mum, are we doing it this year? And it's like, yeah, hell yeah, we are. Absolutely. So yeah, I know that. That feeling, and it's such an amazing feeling to have that, that satisfaction that you've made a difference in somebody's life.
There is, and it's funny at times because I video all of this and it resonates around the world, and there are times in which I've gone back and watched some of the same videos from a year or more, in the emotions that are evoked in me. It takes me back in understanding when I was with a stranger and what they were going through and the difference in that moment that we made. But again, it's just the simplicity of giving selflessly. There's something so beautiful about it, in which there's no expectation. You don't expect anything in return. And really understanding, in a lot of cases, that just finding the ability to smile through adversity. I say, we smile and make others smile because life sometimes can be hard, and not easy. And we don't know why, when we play this comparison game, why sometimes others have it harder than us. And again, it's that mindset, because we start comparing, and that's when depression and other things, and still understanding that life is still amazing and good regardless of your circumstances.
Absolutely. All right, Michael. So for those out there that are watching who may be having a bit of a hard time in their lives at the moment, who might be struggling or be challenged with something, what would be the 3 things that you would tell them that they could do right now that could make a world of difference for them?
Well, the one thing that I do, when you're struggling, and this is something where when this first started roughly 3 years ago, I wasn't in the greatest of places. So when you can find a way to start giving, again, the level and joy and happiness that you can start creating within your life. So I would tell you, go volunteer, do something for others without expectation in return. I think that, something else people can do is create a different mindset. And when I talk about smiling through challenges, I don't live with regret, but I'll put my challenges in perspective. Was the father of a special needs daughter with Down syndrome who couldn't talk, had some medical issues. I lost a son. The industry I was working in collapsed here in the States, 2000, 2008, or 2007, 2008, my career fell apart. That snowballed into a failed marriage, lost my house, ended up broke, where a level of depression, kind of came over me. So creating that mindset and understanding, and I wish if I had the opportunity to go back, it's going back to a place of still understanding that life is so good. I think the third thing, and it kind of segues into there, we're a product of our choices.
Yes.
And in what we do, eating, a lot of times I compare it to eating bad for a weekend or a week doesn't cause you to gain 50 pounds and feel miserable. Doing it for a long sustained period of time does. So we have to be careful the choices that we make, and again, it goes back up to here, what's in our heads, that we have to control the choices that we make in life. And a lot of times, and I think it's one of the most fundamental things that my daughter Maddie has taught me, is that even though we look at her from an outward appearance, having Down syndrome and understanding that she has challenges and special needs, she looks at life so differently. And that is, she's not complicated with fear, stress, anxiety. So it's almost as if she lives in infinite joy and happiness, because it really is found in the simplicity of life, in people, the relationships. So, again, with that, it's the choices that we make, and making bad choices for a day doesn't create habits, but doing that over and over and over, regardless if it's the content that is negative that we put in our mind, or what we choose to put in our mouths and our body over a period of time, does create challenges.
Absolutely. 100% on the mark there. Absolutely 100%. So, Michael, what are the big plans going forward for your journey?
We're excited because, now that I think that we're close to being on the other side of COVID here in the States, we're going right. Yes. We're thankful and grateful for that. So we're going to the great state of Texas here in a few weeks. We have intent and plans to hopefully get up in the Northeast. Sometime after that would be up into like Philadelphia, New York City. And I would love to think, as this message has resonated, a lot of it is about funding. I'm not independently wealthy, and it's just finding the means to move this forward, to go, well, how do we go to London? How do we go to Sydney? How do we go to Tokyo? Wherever it would be, in this world. And I think a lot of it, again, goes back to the beauty of LinkedIn and that social media platform in building relationships with such beautiful people like yourself to have opened and created opportunities for us to move forward and change the entire world.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That just sounds like absolutely an amazing future ahead of you. It's it's incredible. And to think ordinary people just like us can actually get out there and just absolutely kick it and make such a difference in this world. I mean, it just warms my heart so much.
And you know what? You absolutely nailed it right there. And that's what I tell people. I'm no different than you. I often go back and just say, I'm a dude, but I'm a dude who wanted to create the change in his life. And once I created that change in my life and found such joy and happiness as far as giving to others, then, we a lot of times don't do any of that because we think we're just one person. And I am living proof right here of the power of one. When you embrace it, and they talk about all those analogies of the ripple effect when you throw that stone in the pond. Well, look, I didn't throw one stone in the pond. I keep throwing them in the pond, and it just keeps rippling and day after day. And that's the beauty of it, is that we all have it inside of us. Again, it goes back to choices.
Absolutely. It goes back to choices. Do you know, one of the biggest things I do is I constantly put myself out there as well, because it's what you need to do. As you said, you can't just throw one stone in the water and hope it's going to make a difference. You've got to keep pegging them constantly. It's got to be full on all the time.
I'm bringing wheelbarrows to the pond, baby.
No, let's just be a damn Mack truck, honey. Come on.
It's exactly right. At first it was that singular pebble, but then you see and feel it yourself. You understand that now. And now that we're here, it are trucks, dump trucks backing up rocks. It's amazing what can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyone out there?
Look, we're having a conversation right here and you're half a world away.
I am. Exactly. I am on the other side of the world with my little tree. This tree is actually becoming quite famous, It's it's quite a famous tree, this one. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So here we are on the other side of the world. You're exactly right. But, this is the beauty of social media. This is the beauty of LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is just absolutely amazing, and to bring us together. And I think that's something important to actually point out when we're talking about the ripple effect, Michael, because how did we get in touch? What happened with us?
It's what I tell people, and I think what differentiates LinkedIn with the other socials that exist is the ability to create and build relationships with anybody that's on this planet on that platform. It's a much different space. That beautiful, and you create this community of beautiful people all over the place because people highly engage. Even if you don't create content, the people that come in that I can sit here and rattle off all over the world, that continue to bless me with how they look at what I do, that is a driving force, behind what I do. So it is unlike, and look, I was held hostage by the fact that for several months before I started my LinkedIn journey in the fall of 2019, I'm like, no way, I'm not sharing what I'm doing on there. I go look for a job. I may network with somebody, but it's not a place though I'm sharing what I'm doing. And I took a leap of faith. And man, was I so wrong. And, there's several different things that have changed my life. My daughter, the drive-through in LinkedIn. LinkedIn has changed my life.
Yes, mine too. Mine too. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Michael, any final words before we finish this interview? Any messages you want to put out there to the Australian people or anyone else listening from around the world?
I do. I'll tell you, I have a couple of taglines, but the one I'm going to leave people with, and I'm going to invite them to go watch something, And that is, you can be so happy that when others see you, they become happy too. And if anyone wants to go and find proof, so Coca-Cola a few years ago did a commercial. It was, happiness starts with a smile. And the beautiful thing about this 90-second ad is that they don't even really talk about Coke, and there's not a singular word spoken. But there's this guy that starts off getting ready to get on a subway train. He has headphones in, and he's staring down into screen. He gets onto a crowded subway car, and he's watching his screen. He's so focused, and he starts smiling and laughing. And of course, on this crowded train car, people start looking up at him, and it becomes so infectious and contagious. And everyone in the entire car all of a sudden is smiling and laughing. And no one has any idea what this guy is watching. They feel it. So I would challenge anybody who wants to feel good is, no, I'm not a paid spokesperson, even though I would love to be of Coke. But just go to YouTube and put in Coke, happiness starts with a smile. And this 90 seconds will light up your heart. And it's what you and I had talked about the simplicity of, you don't even have to speak. You can feel it when you choose to smile at a stranger.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Michael, thank you so much for coming on with me today. It's been such a pleasure to have you here. And to anyone out there that's listening, to watching, follow Michael on LinkedIn, join him on his journey. Smile, smile, smile at someone today and make a difference in someone else's life right now. Hey, look at the shirt. Absolutely amazing. All right. Michael, thank you so much again. It's been such a pleasure. And I look forward to a long and fruitful future with you.
God bless.
All right. Thank you.